So inventory levels have been an ongoing problem since the start of the pandemic. 2020, we lost a lot of listings, and at the same time, sales really heated up during that summer and throughout the end of the year. So you really had this strange situation where listings didn't match anywhere near the demand. So 2021, on the other hand, we started to see listings kind of get back to normal. It's a very seasonal thing. So as it gets closer and closer to summer, we see more houses hit the market. But because demand has just continued to be aggressive, it really didn't allow it a chance to kind of recharge the active listings count, months inventory count. So what we had was, by the end of the year, months inventory was closer to one month statewide, which is incredible. Before the pandemic, it was closer to 3 months. So we still got a ways to go. And I think there's a few things that we do expect demand to slow down this year, largely because of mortgage rates. What do you think?
Definitely, the lack of inventory of homes available for sale has been a major headwind in the housing market. And again, I think I agree with you with the idea that as mortgage rates increase this year, that should weaken demand somewhat. But overall, the market is going to continue to be a strong housing market. Why? First of all, because the economy is doing so well, and also the demographic part of it, people moving from other states, and also the young population, the millennials coming of age to go out and buy homes.
Right, and I think that's going to be a big wild card is how much are they going to counteract? Because, while mortgage rates are increasing, that will certainly price out a lot of people. What are the levels of migration going to look like for Texas? It was pretty aggressive past couple of years, but I don't think it's going to be at those levels going forward. But if it's anything like it was the past 10 years, I think it'll be enough to help sustain the housing market here. So I think inflation is one of those things that oftentimes people don't really pay attention to, but of course it's been kind of hard to ignore inflation. A lot more people are taking interest in it. So I don't know, what's your thoughts on the...
Oh, of course, it's at a 40-year high, above 7% annually, and that's a major issue facing the economy going forward. And of course, it has a lot of implications also in interest rates, first of all. Right? Just think about your principles of finance class. Nominal interest rate equals what? The real rate, what the lender wants from you, the bank, plus inflation expectation. So if inflation goes up, interest rates go up, and that includes mortgage rates. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a major issue going forward, no? And also, I think right now, monetary policy, the Fed is trying to, first of all, started tapering, the first thing they started doing. And then secondly, right now, depending on who you talk to, expectations are for them to increase the Fed fund rate between 2 to 4 times. I even heard somebody said the other day, possibly even 7 times. I know that's kind of out there. But
is that bad though?
Is that bad? Exactly. 7% is a lot of inflation,
right,
especially for our economy. But what they're expecting also is that the major reason we have such high levels of inflation are because of the supply chain issues, right? So what they're expecting is some of those issues to start to subdue, right? To go away, basically. So as we move on during the year, as those supply issues start to come behind us, some people have mentioned that inflation could go all the way back to 3.5% in 2022.
Right. And inflation, it's been, showing up in the most unusual places. One thing will be kind of out of whack price-wise. And so it's really impacted how households have, made their purchase decisions. So it's going to take a little while for that to iron out.
So a major issue facing the housing market, especially the supply of new homes, has been the supply chain issues also. And that's pushing up prices for home builders. We've heard the stories of stuff with lumber increasing at such a high rate, almost 160% increases. Steel products, still really, really high increase, 140% that we've never seen in the 20th century of the U.S. economy. Also labor issues also, the lack of labor supply, pushing up wages they have to pay to their workers. So these are major issues that have been hindering the supply of new homes.
Yeah, and when it comes to the supply chain, I mean, a lot of the conversation goes towards prices and just, you mentioned the softwood lumber, but the other factor, especially when it comes to the construction market, is the timing to get things. We're hearing stories of builders having to order things way in advance, and hopefully it'll be there in time. We've heard all sorts of quirky stories by now of, homes being completed or, close as complete as you can get, but they're missing like a garage door or an appliance or something. And so that's really stretched the limits to the new home market.
Yeah, and going forward, I think some of those issues, the supply chain issues, just start to subdue, right? Going forward, as the economy ramps up, all these things. But yeah, so I think it'll become a little bit more favorable for them going forward.
Right, and if demand slows down also in the new construction market, like we're anticipating for the existing home market, that may help kind of get things closer on track. I think it's going to take a little while for it to level out, but that should help.